So, I originally did a video where I reviewed the 5 and Futuro respectively, but unfortunately for me, YouTube saw that I added a clip with the movie trailer and blocked it from everyone like a month later. Even though the trailer was released to the public and I wasn't spoiling anything, it was still blocked. Thanks, YouTube. That said, the movie still isn't out for us here in the US, so instead of reviewing the characters and out of interest of trying to replace that video and make a quick one before I go back to school, how about we go over each one of the Quints and see what the case is for each of them to win. Naturally, we're going to go in order, starting with Ichika. Now, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I mention her? Her job as an actress, the one with the shortest hair, the one who had to pay for everything when all 5 of them moved out of their father's apartment. To me, the first thing I think of when you mention her is this. Come on, man. I mean, if it was a normal harem anime, a stunt like this I would have to respect, and even now I still do a little, but when it's attacking your own sister, that's when it gets more upsetting. Get the win by any means, even if it destroys your family, right? Futuro even saw through the ruse and said he couldn't trust her. So how is she still in the running? Well, she did make up with her sisters after all that, so there's a redemption factor involved. Plus, you have to throw in the effort she had to give since all 4 of her sisters were freeloading off her when they moved out, seeing as she was the only one with a job at the time. Not to mention, she clearly knows what she wants to do in the future as she continues pursuing her career as an actress, in addition to her being one of the 2 quintuplets to not actually ostracize Futuro at the beginning. I personally do not want to see her win, but I know she's still in the running, and my friend thinks she's best girl here, so at least he would be happy. Anyway, she's 1 of 5, and next we have Nino. Now, if you asked me during season 1, Nino would have had no shot at winning. The amount of distance between her and Futuro was as clear as night and day, which included the will to fail just to get him fired, and the drugging. Oh man, the drugging was terrifying to see, but flash forward to the 2nd season, and after getting over what was essentially a temper tantrum caused by a dispute with Miku and Itsuki, her character developed for the better. Simply put, the moment we saw her cut her hair short, which she pulls off better than her long hair if I'm being honest, she became less selfish, more open, and she was the first one to work up the courage to let Futuro know how she feels. That's what she has going for her. She's aggressive, and that aggressiveness will help her improve her chances with him. She even wanted Battle to work with him in the same place, which also improves her chances at him, and while providing her share of income for all 5 of them living on their own. Not only that, her character development is one that even Futuro can probably see, and that also helps her case. Plenty of people see her as best girl, so many of you won't be disappointed if she is the winner. Next up though, we have our other quintuplet most fans probably have as their best girl, and that's Miku. Side note to everyone, when you're deciding on best girl for this anime, reminder that all 5 of these girls are pretty stupid. She may be the smartest one, but if you take out history, her academics don't look too different from her sisters. Not only that, she can't cook if her life depended on it. Now, with all that said, what does she have going for her? She's still not that much smarter than her sisters, and she can't cook, so what's her case? Well, the answer to that is her perseverance and the grind. Ever since Futuro chased her around to school in an attempt to let him tutor her, she fell for him, and she's been constantly trying to improve her shortcomings for him to see her the same way. Cooking is the main example here, where she's constantly been trying to improve from that horrifying omurice she initially cooked while challenging Nino to successfully making a simple croissant. Although the latter was also because she got a job working at a bakery since they needed help Ichika not pay for everything. Another example of that would be when she felt she had to end the current relationship of student and teacher with Futuro, seeing as she believed the relationship wouldn't go anywhere if the situation remained the same. There's also the fact that she was willing to work with him after their chase. where unlike Itsuki and Nino, who reluctantly or just had to accept him eventually as their tutor, Miku joined the group of allowing Futaro in, more or less. In addition to all that, we had that incident happen, so let's throw in some sympathy points for her. Well, with Miku's case presented, we now have my personal choice for best girl, and that's Yotsuba. Alright, the intelligence does drop a bit here, but with all the girls struggling themselves, it's really not by much. So, what's Yotsuba's case? Well, she was the first girl in reality to meet Futaro, as both of them met when they were children and were lost in Kyoto. But Futaro doesn't remember that, and Reina is portrayed by Itsuki, and she tells him to move on with his life. So we can't really say the childhood promise they made is in play for this, although we can't necessarily rule it out completely. Yotsuba though is more than willing to help not only Futaro, but anyone who needs it. It's a double-edged sword, seeing as her constantly helping others comes at the cost of her own self-interest. But with all that said, she can be relied on when needed, and that's probably the best trait for her. Not only that, she will work hard. Take for example, the break all of them actually needed after, like a month straight of studying? Or something like that. And instead of having fun at that amusement park they were all at, she stayed in the Ferris wheel all day and grinded out the books. There's a reason for why pretty much everyone asks Yotsuba to do things, and it's for good reason. Her reliability, honesty, and hard work are big cases for her. With all that said, we move on to our final quintuplet, and that would be Itsuki. So, what's Itsuki's case? It's pretty simple. Itsuki has the I started everything here case going for her. She was the first one to meet Futaro, and the two butted heads a lot. Does fighting really bring people closer together? If so, she also has that going for her. But aside from that, and probably her diligence, seeing as she's the only one who will study willingly, there's not much else. That Reina stunt she pulled was a favor to Yotsuba, and it wasn't even her as a child that met Futaro, let alone Futaro recognizing that it is her. So the childhood friend promise is completely out of the question for her. I mean, what else does she really have? Do you expect the Matt Stoney trait where she just eats a lot to help her case here? No. The main cases for her are just being the one who initiated the story and possibly the fighting bringing her and Futaro closer. Which it did a little bit, in all honesty. Oh wait, I forgot she also has a good relationship with Futaro's younger sister. But that probably shouldn't be considered either since, that's his sister, not him. Well, sorry Itsuki fans, your girl's case is hard to explain, but don't fret. She still has a solid chance to win, somehow. In any case, it doesn't really matter who wins or loses, seeing everyone who wasted their time reading that final arc in the manga wasted their time with that. Yes, I read the manga. No, I won't say who won. It's not even the actual ending or his choice that's upsetting, it's just like 8 chapters before the actual ending and it was kind of, alright, this isn't really necessary, can we just move on? Anyway, hopefully the movie won't have that same build up so that whoever wins, people could just be excited or upset at the choice rather than universally hating the prolonged and unnecessarily extended ending.